Today we're unboxing something controversial. What happens when AI doesn't just assist lawyers but replaces them? Our guest today is Rami Alame, co-founder of Lexyom, building what he calls an AI lawyer, capable of taking over your legal tasks. Rami saw the 2017 AI wave early, and instead of choosing a standard career path, he chose to disrupt one. Let's unbox that.
Welcome to Unboxed Talks, a podcast by Unbox and Morph, where we sit down with operators, entrepreneurs, and creators who are shaping the region. Real conversations, real journeys, no fluff, no scripts. This is Unboxed Talks.
Rami, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to host you on Unboxed Talks, and good to see you as always.
Thank you for having me.
Rami, let's not ease into this. You say you're building an AI lawyer that can take over legal tasks. Are you trying to assist lawyers or replace them?
That's a very broad scope. So there are definitely lawyers that are going to be replaced. There are definitely sectors or categories inside the legal industry that are going to be replaced. And there will remain some lawyers that will be needed to basically sign off on certain tasks and to litigate certain cases in court. Although we already saw robots, experimental robots, try to litigate.
Yeah. And what legal tasks today are completely inefficient and can be really automated and just nobody wants to admit that it's taking too much time?
So start with the basic layer of contractual work. Requesting a contract, any business waits for the lawyer to take the information, to fill in the information, to prepare the contract, a template contract, and to send it out. Takes about 3-4 days if you're lucky. That's a 2 to 5 minute job.
Cool. And if Lexyom works and proceeds like the way you envision it,
Yeah.
what does the legal industry look like in 10 years?
So what Lexyom is building is an operating system. So it's a legal operating system. We are trying to automate the whole process of registering your company, requesting your trademarks, registering your intellectual property, going for contracts, ideally creating APIs with regulatory entities, governments, etc. So we believe that in the next 10 years, there will be a fully automated AI law firm that will be able to service at least small to medium-sized enterprises and startups.
That's very insightful. And while you were talking, I'm thinking like, how did a lawyer get into all of that? And you're just saying API and automations and like big technical words that are very into tech. What really happened? Because earlier when we were discussing matters offline, you mentioned that in 2017, you saw the AI hype that is upcoming.
Yeah.
What exactly happened in 2017?
So there are two aspects to 2017. There's a personal aspect and there's an actual circumstantial economical aspect that was there. On the personal level, I had just left New York because of family reasons, and there was like a very harsh stage for me. And so on a personal level, I was ready to go into some level of entrepreneurship. And so that's the first part. The second is, at the time, Baker, it's a famous law firm, had hired IBM to basically work on an AI lawyer for bankruptcy. It was called Ross.
Back in 2017.
That was 2016 even, and it went live in 2017. It was called Ross, ROSS. It was powered by IBM's native system called Watson, and at the time it was literally automating a bankruptcy process. And so I read that. I was very involved in the legal industry. Obviously, I used to work as a lawyer in New York, so I was pretty involved in the process. And I realized that, okay, if like Ross can automate on the bankruptcy side, Why not on the corporate? Why not on the maybe family side? On all the aspect of legal. So that's how.
And back then, what path were you on? Like you mentioned, you were in New York, you had some personal circumstances, etc. Were you in a standard career?
I was in a standard career. I was working at Cadwalader, a major law firm in New York. We used to cater for banks like Goldman. We did files for JP Morgan. We used to focus on financial services. So
What did that mean to you back then?
excitement. I was very excited about my career, and at the same time, I saw the outcome. It was crazy, Carl, because when I was working, it was a huge challenge to say to yourself, you know where things are going. You're not visualizing them like practically in your daily life in 2017, but you knew that it was coming towards an automation phase, right? So it was a very hard decision to leave your standard career to actually start building something.
And I'm wondering, what did the people around you think back then when you just started talking about that shift and what you're intending to do? Like you were in a good place, you had your job, you were in New York, you were working on big cases, big clients, etc. Suddenly, you're up in the tech industry.
So I think I was lucky because I was, I think, part of the last real generation of entrepreneurs that were considered crazy or kind of a joke when they shared an idea. Because at the time, remember, like COVID had not happened. Companies were not that much on the internet as they are today, and AI was nowhere to be found. And so when I still remember one of the lawyers, a friend of mine, was telling me how his friends had known about my idea and they were laughing about it. That this guy is pretty much crazy. He's not serious. He's leaving his career.
What did that do to you, like internally?
A huge drive.
Emotionally?
A huge drive. Huge drive. I had an air mattress at the office.
Those fueled you.
Yeah. It was crazy because like I used to, when I had an air mattress at the office, so I used to sleep at the office. And I remember I used to have it on repeat. Like what I heard, I had it on repeat in my head. So whenever I woke up, I literally thought of the idea that people do not see the reality and I'm going to prove them wrong.
So proving them wrong is the fuel that really led you to pursue all of that and challenging yourself. Would you say that you challenge yourself mostly to really prove your point back then?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to get to the result. Just like anything, I think everyone wants to build, they want to get to a result. They want to see what they imagine in real life. I think that was, so it wasn't really only proving them wrong, but that definitely fueled me.
Okay, so you said you stopped thinking standard careers were the norm. And what specifically did you stop doing after that realization? You mentioned moving into the office, putting an air mattress, etc. But let's talk more.
Wearing suits.
You stopped wearing suits.
Yes, totally.
So
Totally, yeah.
you're a lawyer that doesn't wear it.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally stopped wearing suits. It was very instantaneous. It's crazy. Like you realize.
Start doing differently then.
Focusing on what's important. So I stopped focusing on a lot of material aspects. It's weird. When you're trying to build, a lot of people dream of like having a unicorn startup, like $1 billion startup, or making a lot of money from an exit. But the real ones who are trying to solve problems, they're thinking about the outcome. How can I build something that changes the world? And it stops being about the clothes, the elements that you focus on prior. Like I used to focus a lot on collecting watches, collecting cars, wearing nice suits, nice shirts, etc. And all of this went out the closet, like literally, when I started building.
Was there a financial risk or a reputation risk as well involved, or an ego risk back then?
It's weird. It's weird because you don't realize it at first. Like when I
after reflecting,
like in the moment, I would have told you no. I mean, I'm young. I could have like just done everything and came back to legal, to being a lawyer. And now, as I think about it, yeah, there was a huge risk, of course, because if my bet was wrong, well, I would have been marginalized, because a lot of my friends would have been growing up in their career and scaling up their career, and I would have been stuck outside of it.
With what you know right now, would you redo it exactly the same way as you did?
That's a very hard question, because I would have done it exactly the way it is, yes. That said, would I have changed a few things? Probably yes, also, because I felt I was a bit slow. I could have literally done things faster, and I could have focused on building more than the personal aspect of my life that I did keep for the longest time.
You wrote something powerful recently. Surrounding does not matter because it does. Let's decode that a bit further. At what point did you realize environment is not neutral? It either expands or shrinks you.
Later on, I would say even 3-4 years ago. I mean, I always knew that network is very important. I always knew that community.
So network is your net worth?
Yeah, totally. And I always knew that, but I didn't experience it because maybe I had it for granted in a sense. But then recently I realized how important it is to be surrounded with the right people, because as you start building, you start realizing that you're filtering out a lot of people from your life. A lot of people are no longer supporting you. Sometimes they're attacking you. You have much less friends, and it's normal because you're spending a lot of time in your work. And this is when you realize that, like, being in a certain environment. So, for example, practically being in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, building a startup, gives you a 10x, if not more, boost to your startup than being here.
How did your circle change as you became more entrepreneurial? Like, paint us a picture.
So in what sense?
In the sense of the people that you're surrounded with, how to really shrink that circle of friends that you just met.
Oh, it shrinks naturally. People stop
It's a natural.
The first months they keep telling you about their projects that they're doing, going out, having dinners, pubs, etc. The second month it's less. The third month it's less, and then you realize at some point that you're not getting any more invites to marriages, to events, to social events. It shrinks a lot. And it's a price you pay when you're building. It's a price you pay when you're that focused, when you're that locked in. And to entrepreneurs out there, it's very important to know that, because some people think, oh, is there something wrong with me? It's not. You're literally focusing on something that 90% of people are not focusing on. So that's why.
I love that. Was there any friction when you outgrew those certain environments? Any example to share?
A lot.
Something that...
One of those is very symbolic, to be honest. Like, I had a friend who used to be employed, and I was building the startup. He started coming, sitting with me at the office, tried to build his own project. Soon I realized that he was trying to basically copy the same project that I was building, which is basically Lexyom, in a different angle. And then he even came to me one day and started like giving me potential names for his project. And one of the names was literally the same as Lexyom, but with different, like, two letters difference. And it started creating friction because he was trying to be me at the time and trying to imitate and not trying to create or innovate. He was not trying to solve a problem. And this is where the friction comes into play. When someone is trying to take your path without knowing what's the actual outcome for your path.
And now that you're reflecting on it, is it a bad moment or a good moment, actually? Because from my point of view right now, I can tell you that this is part of a validation, maybe, that you're doing something right and people are basically copying you.
On the human side, it's hard. because you have friends that you've been close to for sometimes 10, 12, 15 years. So on the human side, I can tell you it's not easy to live those frictions, because it makes you realize how lonely you are.
You said your biggest early mistake was taking too much time. And taking too much time doing what exactly? Thinking, planning, waiting?
Taking too much time, mostly hiring at the time.
Hiring.
I would say the biggest mistake I did was not trust a lot of people.
So you needed to hire earlier.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword, because sometimes you hire and you get into problems, and sometimes you don't hire and you get delayed. And there's a median between those. The more you hire, the more you make mistakes, but after those mistakes comes like the team that will help you really scale this to $1 billion. My issue was not trusting the people enough, the people I was hiring enough, and considering that I could do things better on all levels.
So you were hands-on on all fronts doing
Exactly, and that's super wrong.
wearing all the hats.
Yeah, and that's a mistake. I think a lot of my entrepreneur friends had the same issue.
What does speed mean to you today as a founder?
Everything.
It's all about speed.
Everything.
That's why you're into AI and technology.
Yeah, especially now, I could tell you, like, without any hesitation, any doubt, that each minute and each hour and each day counts in the next 3 years. 3 years, that's like a conservative time frame. Because after that, it's going to be very hard for a lot of entrepreneurs to make exponential results.
You also said structure change your trajectory, basically. What kind of structure? Is it personal, operational, or team structure that you just mentioned now?
So when you're on the creative side, when you're trying to think about like how to disrupt, it's very hard for you to organize. And it's very hard for you to really structure everything around you, from operations to marketing to even development, everything. And this is where you need, in my opinion, you need partners. And I was lucky to have one of the best co-founders that could ever exist, in my opinion. Not that she's not creative. She's one of the most creative people you could talk to, but she tends to be also extremely organized and extremely structured. And that really saved Lexyom at some point.
Now, I'm interested to understand the bigger vision, and you just earlier mentioned that it's all about the next 3 years, and after that it's going to be too late, etc. Is Lexyom about building a product or rewriting how justice is accessed? And how are you matching that inside your company with what you just compared in terms of timeline? Like, we only have 3 years, we're in a race. Tell us a bit about Lexyom and what you're building and what's happening in the world right now.
Gotcha. Now, AI is going to take over everything. For me, this is a fact. It's only a question of time, and it's only a question of closing gaps and closing inefficiencies, depending on the market you're in. So, for example, there are markets that are still lacking the banking infrastructure. They're still lacking the technological infrastructure. So it's going to take time, and it's going to be like really different between one country and another. That's number one. Number two, for Lexyom specifically, Lexyom is working in a regulated industry, and regulated industries are going to be the last to be disrupted, because there are a lot of bureaucratical structures. There's a lot of work to be done with the governments, and governments are pretty much like slower than the private sector. What we're building is an operating system. So basically it could integrate with law firms, legal departments, and that's what we're doing right now. We've been doing for the past 4 years. We sell our software to legal departments, to compliance offices, to compliance departments.
So it's mostly for enterprises
For now,
or the everyday people.
yeah, we haven't launched. So we started with B2C, then we retracted. We shifted our focus to B2B. Since 2021, we've been really focused on B2B. We focused on building our reputation as Lexyom, as a law firm, financial services, digital law firm. And then underneath that, we were selling to legal departments and compliance departments. What we believe in the next 3 years is going to happen is we're going to be going more towards B2C. We're going to start basically connecting our software with different service providers on the business level, on the corporate level, and the financial level. And we're going to ideally be able to create that infrastructure in the next 2 to 3 years so that no one needs legal anymore post 2028.
Before we hop into the fire questions, I really want to wrap up the AI segment because it's really interesting, and I do believe that lots of people and founders out there are questioning the future of AI and business. But in your field, in law, what scares you most about AI in your field, in law?
Scares me from a business perspective, nothing. It's pretty much very exciting because I think it's going to free up a lot of people's time. It's going to make it easy for people to handle their businesses, to handle their legal. It's going to cut costs a lot. So in this transitional phase, I'm not really worried. What could be worrying later on is like the replacement, like full replacement. And we would have to start talking about a universal base salary, and really, like, depending on countries, we'd have to look at what country gives you the best universal basic salary for a lot of people who are going to leave their jobs. So that's pretty much what makes me think. But literally from the legal aspect, the transitional period is amazing.
But throughout the last 2000 years, let's say, lots of new trends and technology or advancement and innovations were actually being made every 10, 15, 100 years. Lots of jobs were replaced, lots of new skills were acquired, and life goes on.
Yeah.
Will that end? Are we like replacing everyone and anything, and we're just ran by robots?
So
is it that pessimistic?
Yeah, I mean, I always ask myself, am I super lucky to be born in this era, or is it an actual simulation that basically translates into a matrix, and there's no past, there's no future, and this is the game? Because we're literally witnessing something that we haven't witnessed in our lifetime. For the first time on the planet, on this planet Earth, that is surrounded by darkness, and you could go as far as the galaxy, and then galaxies and galaxies.
This will need a separate episode.
Yeah, I think so. Because for the first time, you have a species that's going to be superior than the human race. That's my opinion.
But it's based on its intelligence. It's human intelligence feeding artificial intelligence.
Again, that's a very long conversation. I agree. But like in a nutshell, humans take decisions based on data sets. And so imagine you have the ability to translate 1,000 times more in data sets than you have today. You take much, much more informed decisions and much smarter decisions. I think that's what AI is going to do.
I love this. We're going to come back to it later on in a different episode. Let's move on to the rapid fire questions. Let's tackle 10 different ones. Are you ready? Just top of mind answers, no over explanations. AI will create more lawyers or fewer?
Fewer.
One legal process that should disappear tomorrow?
Company registration.
Regulation, barrier or opportunity?
Opportunity.
If Lexyom fails, why would it fail?
Because I haven't done my job.
Founder is higher than employee because? Is more important than an employee because?
He's not.
He's not. One skill every future lawyer must learn?
AI.
Speed or perfection?
Speed.
Network or product?
Products.
One belief you still struggle with?
Network.
In one sentence, what are you really building?
An AI lawyer.
Rami, closing our episode, it's a ritual now that we're trying to close and wrap up while asking the guest, how can the Unboxed community support you right now in anything you're doing?
More AI tools.
Maybe beta users?
Yeah.
Legal partners, investors, AI tools that you mentioned, engineers, early
Investors, definitely.
Is there something particular that you guys
Mostly more integration with AI tools, with service providers that can provide a solution that is powered by AI. That would be something I think would be fruitful for any community, nonetheless the Unboxed community.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Rami Alame, for being with us. It's a pleasure to have you. You're a friend, and so you're always welcomed on the podcast.
Appreciate
Lovely having you, man.
Thanks.
Thank you.